And we're going to go over today how you use your applicant pool site and how you log in as a manager to view your applicants. You'll also be able to see the job listings. I'm going to start off first, though, covering what it looks like from an applicant perspective, and then so that way you'll have some comfort level with what's going on as far as your applicants, and then I'll show you what it looks like when you log in so that you can view the applicants for your job listings. All right, so this is the page that applicants would land on if they're coming in from your corporate site. Now, let me just go double check yet. I know we were going to have, there we go, under employment. I'm going to look at having a link added on this page or directly from the employment. Oh, here we go, available positions. Yeah. Ah, perfect. Yeah, that's interesting. So it did a bounce over and it lands on this page. So this is for visitors who are going into your corporate website and then clicking on employment and coming in to see your job listings. As a fraction of the total people who are going to be visiting your site, that's going to be less than half. It could be substantially less. Most of your visitor traffic is going to be coming in almost guaranteed. In fact, I could actually take a look here in just a little bit. It's going to be coming in from Indeed.com, which is the largest job site in the U.S. So we push all of your job listings from there. So this is what you have active currently. And you can actually see the department names. So we got a few from production, and then we got some other departments as well that have job listings open. This site is fully mobile optimized so that anyone who's coming in on a computer is going to see it the way you're probably looking at it right now. If they're coming in off of a mobile device, then it will recognize what type of device they're on. If they're on a cell phone, then what they'll see, and you can actually test it yourself if you go to AgropurIngredients.applicantpool.com. That's all you need to put in for the URL, and you're going to see the list of job listings. And then down below that will be the other information so that an applicant or a visitor to the site can put in their name and email, and any day that you add new job listings, they'll get an alert or an email letting them know about that, and they can click through and apply at that point. Got a link back to your corporate website so they can find out more about your organization, or they can share this page or the individual job listings with others via social media. All right, I'm going to go into one of the job listings, and I might be most qualified to be a batcher. All right, so you're going to have the full job listing, a similar deal. As long as this is, that's what applicants on cell phones would see on their phones, so that they don't have to do a bunch of swiping back and forth to view the entire listing, or the entire page, I should say. And then down below that on a cell phone will be what you see on the right side of the screen, which is where they can begin the application process. If they have a LinkedIn profile, then we've got kind of a small nod to efficiency for them. They can click on this link, and it will actually fill in for them their name and email address just off of their LinkedIn profile. That's all it's doing. It's really simple, but it's nice, particularly if someone's got a long email address or name. They can just sit there and relax while it does a little bit of work for them. The system is validating on email addresses, and so a person who's logging in or attempting to add an application into your system, they can't apply for the same job more than once from the same email address. So effectively, you're not going to have any duplicates. They can apply for a second or a third job, but not for the same job using the same email address. Excuse me. All right. So if I wanted to, as an applicant, apply for this, then I would just complete the rest of the contact information, click on Apply, and I'll be into the system. That actually is creating a profile. We're not asking them to create a login or to create a profile, but that's what it's doing for them. Having done that, they can leave the system and then return again and actually complete their application at a later point. And if they've not completed the application they began when they leave the system, then the system itself will prompt them by email and ask if they would like to return to the system and complete the application before the job listing closes. So it's a nice way to get some people who may have gotten distracted for whatever reason to come back and complete an application. All right, so what they see next is the sections of the application. They can see how much they've completed. If they've been here before, they can see the parts that are already checked off. They actually, if they do want to upload a resume, they can upload not just from a hard drive or from a cell phone that's able to do that, but also from Dropbox or Google Drive, or they can put in their, they can copy and paste a text resume, or even upload it by turning that into a text file. Okay, so they'll go through the separate sections of the application. When they complete it, every applicant gets a message on screen thanking them for applying, and every applicant gets an email thanking them for applying. When they've completed the application, they can go into their account if they wish, and they can print out any applications that have been completed. They can continue any that have not been completed, or they can update their contact information. So anytime you have someone who is contacting you and asking about going in and completing their application, they can request that their password be emailed to them. If they go in and just simply click on a link to do that, they can really take care of everything that they would need to themselves. They can't go back in and edit an application that's already been completed, but they can make any changes they want to apps that have been started. All right. Again, if you've got any questions as we're going, feel free to jump in. I didn't say it up front, but I'm anticipating that this won't take more than a half hour total, and maybe less than that. So we've got plenty of time for questions if you wish. All right. So I'm going to log in as a viewing manager. Okay, I just set up this login just for me as being kind of support in this case. You're going to have your own login. So everyone comes to the same URL as any type of manager logging into the system. And anyone that wants to view an application will need to log in one fashion or another. So you're each going to have a login that's going to be specific to your area of jurisdiction, if you will, your department that you're looking at applicants. So when I log in, I'm logging in as a viewing manager in the production department only. So you'll see that though you had, what was it, 8 or 9 jobs that are active right now, only 3 of them are in the production department. So as a production manager, when I log in, I land on the applications page, which is where primarily you're going to maybe exclusively be spending your time just viewing your applications. If you want to go in and look at the job listings, you can, or even look at one of a few reports, you can do that. So we'll touch on that briefly in a little bit. But primarily, you're just going to be dropping into the applicants page, and then you can see some real-time analytics on what's going on with your job listings, and then you'll also be able to go in and look at your applicants. Let me show you just a little bit here first. Okay, you're doing pretty well, a bit better than typical as far as the number of people who are completing applications relative to those who are coming in and viewing your job listings. So this is the total number of people who have viewed. We typically see a ratio of about 10 to 1 for our clients who have full applications, as you do, of people who view your applications, or your job listings rather, versus those who complete the applications. So it's a relatively steep drop-off, but that's somewhat typical, so I don't want you to be panicked by thinking that, oh my gosh, I've got this many people who viewed, where did all of them go? This isn't too unusual to see this number. All right, but it would tell you if there was a significant issue. So if you saw 51 people had viewed this and no one completed your application, and maybe you have this number who start but none at all completed, then that would indicate there's a real issue there. Met BQ means they met basic qualifications. So we can set up, you can ask your site administrator or administrators to set up screening questions so that if you have a job such as this one where you have a couple of specific things that you can ask yes-no questions or have a list of defined responses, and if someone, for instance, answers no to having a certain experience or certification, whatever it might be, then you can just have them marked as not meeting basic qualifications, and they don't even show up when by default when you go in to look at your applicants, because you don't need to look at them. They didn't meet your basic qualifications. We could actually have the system automatically give them a disposition or a status since they didn't meet your basic qualifications, so you don't even have to go in, put in an updated status, look at the application, or look at the resume. They've already been dealt with. Now, should you find that those who indicated they met basic qualification didn't, they're not qualified enough, or they don't meet whatever guidelines you're looking at to for a good hire, then you can still go in and look at those that don't meet basic qualifications. But by default, only those that meet BQ basic qualifications are going to show up. This is your workload. So if I'm the production manager and I'm coming in here and I see that I've got 20 people who completed the application, 12 of those have been dealt with. This is what I need to do today, because you have an affirmative action plan, which means each of your applicants needs to have some sort of terminal disposition or applicant status put in for them showing what happened. Were they hired? Were they not hired because they did not meet basic qualifications? Did they remove themselves from consideration? What was the deal? So you got 8 people that don't have anything at all yet for a status, so that means there's a little bit of a workload here. So I'm going to go in and just look at, actually I'm going to look at the job that I looked at earlier. So for this bachelor, third shift, if I click on either the job name or the magnifying glass, I'll be able to see the applicants. So this is all of those over the last 30 days who are still active. So I'm guessing there are some of them that are archived, but we're just going to look at the active applicants. So we got 2 of them. The system can automatically give scoring if you set it up this way. And I anticipate for this job that we don't have any knockout questions, and we're not allocating scores based upon how they answer each of your screening questions, if there are any for this job. So that's why you've got scores of 0 here. If it was set up with scoring for each of your questions based upon their responses, then you might have, if you had a long list of applicants here, you might be able to see a difference in these and open up the one with the higher score first because they've answered some of your most important qualifications affirmatively. All right, so with this, I'm just going to go ahead and you can go into either one, click on the magnifying glass to view the application. And here's all of the basic information for the applicant. I can look at it by part of the resume. Now, the viewer is going to be updated so that it's going to provide a bit more efficient viewer for you, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this to go there. And what's particularly nice about this is that if you've got a long list of applicants, and so for some of your jobs you had a handful out there that hadn't been looked at yet, and if you go in, you're going to see all of the applications. So we're looking at Justin's application, but we could just with one click move on to the next application and review it. Okay, so we're looking at the application and their experience. We can go in and look at any of the different sections we want to. If at this point, I'll take it back. We're a viewing manager here, and actually you can see who's logged in when to look at this application. So we've come in, and all we're doing at this point is basically looking, not touching. All right, so we're not updating. When I was talking about that earlier, my apologies. When we're not looking at, or since we're just viewing the applications, you don't have to update the statuses yourself. That's an option that can be turned on at some point, but for right now, you're just viewing the application. So you can go in and look at each of the sections. You can, in this case, we've got a text resume. If it was an upload of a resume, then you'd be able to click on a link to open it. And, oh, okay, so we do have some screening questions. So you can look at the responses to the screening questions. And then this is where it'd be nice if we had everyone live on the audio, but whatever your hiring process is now, if you need to just make note of which of the applicants you would like to move forward with as far as interviewing, then that would be, I presume, the next step in your process is to give feedback about who you feel is qualified so that you can move forward in the interview process, and those that you don't want to move forward with, and give some sort of response about why, if they didn't meet the minimum qualifications or if there's some other misfit as far as them relative to the job, then give that kind of feedback as well. Okay, you've got the contact information. I won't speak to whether it makes sense for you to attempt to email the applicant via the system, but you've got that information. The applicant, remember, can update their own contact information, so they shouldn't need to be contacting you for that purpose. And underneath actions, you've got, as viewing managers, just the one thing. You can come in and you can print the application if you wanted to have, and actually, let's go ahead to that. So I could select the common items, and then when I click on preview, it's going to show me on screen. Here's the entire application, and I could print it out. For that matter, I could print it to a PDF just to save it on my computer. All right. So that's pretty much it for viewing an application. Again, if you've got any questions, feel free to either send a chat message if that's easier, or if you want to, if you're on mute, take yourself off of mute and feel free to ask a question. There's really only one other significant thing for you at this point. Actually, I guess a couple of things. One is the ability to go in and search for an applicant. So if you're looking for a particular applicant, and let's say you were looking for Justin, you didn't notice he was right down there at the bottom of the screen, you could search by his first name, last name, email or phone, or by keywords. Now, a keyword search in this is not quite the same as it is in Google, in that we don't want to get the entire universe of people who meet any of your keywords. We want this to be an exclusive search. So if you put in Justin and Timberlake, we don't want anyone that has Justin or Timberlake. We want only those people that have Justin Timberlake in their application or resume somewhere. Or if you put Justin Timberlake keyboard, you want to have all three of those words, and it's going to exclude any applications that don't include all of the keywords that you include. All right. Then one last thing, underneath jobs is just a place where you can go in and review what job listings you have. You can take a look at the applications themselves, and actually if you want to view the job listing, just clicking on this, you'd be able to see that. You can actually see how many applications have been received for each of those job listings. This is over not just 30 days, but the total time period. And then you can also get a sense of where they are in the process, so you can see, well, let me go ahead and look at that. So how many people are at each status so far? So those are the only statuses that are set up or that have been selected for these currently. Another report you can look at is if you're wondering where are these people coming from, then do a source report. So Indeed, not sure what all is included in other at this point, but Indeed, as advertised, is identifiable sources, the one where you have the most applicants, or most people who are viewing, and I presume most applicants as well. Nice to see the state workforce site kicking in a few in your company website. And I believe that's it then. So the biggest thing this is doing for you is making it so that you're not having to get, you're not having to wait on anyone to send you applications. You can come straight into the system with your login at whatever convenience. You can come in any place you've got internet access. You can come in and view your applications just using your login, and then you can communicate back whatever information you want about those applicants. Any feedback at all at this point? Aaron, anything you want to share by chat or otherwise? At least, have I covered what you were hoping for? I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording at this point.